Alrighty, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for clicking on today's video. Today we are going to be talking about Serena Williams and the GLP-1 stuff that has been going on. I'm sure if you've been on the internet, you have seen it. But Serena Williams, who is the most prolific women's tennis player of all time, maybe definitely the most prolific women's tennis player from the US of all time, has come out recently and stated that she has been taking a GLP-1 and she has lost like 30 pounds on it. And so if you're not familiar with what she was looking like before she took it, here's a like kind of a before and after. So this was, I think this was like, this was not that long ago basically. And then this is currently, right? And so she's lost a good amount of weight, like 30 pounds on this GLP-1, but obviously with her being such a prolific athlete or former athlete, people are very confused as to why she felt the need to take this GLP-1. But I think if you dig a little bit deeper into the story and into everything that's going on, it's even more, I guess, interesting. I know people hate when I say interesting too much, but it is there's definitely more to the story that once I started looking into it, I just thought that it was interesting. And so that's what we're going to be going over today. Really quick, I just wanted to say a huge thank you to Grow Therapy for partnering with me on this video and sponsoring this section of the video. This year, mental health has been a big focus for me because I moved from the West Coast to the East Coast, and then I've been dealing with some family health issues. So it is really cool to have Grow Therapy working with me and this sponsorship. Finding a good therapist can be really overwhelming. There can be just a ton of different things that you have to go through. So I really like that Grow Therapy makes it a lot more simple to find a good fit for yourself. Grow Therapy is really simple to use, and their platform has a ton of different filters that you can use for insurance, availability, and just a ton of different other resources. They're also covered by over 50 different insurance plans, including Medicaid in certain states. A lot of people end up spending just about $21 per session, and some people can even spend no money at all. You can choose virtual or in-person sessions, and if you find out that the therapist that you're working with isn't a right fit, it's really easy to find someone else to work with as well. There are no subscriptions or commitments. You just pay per session. Grow Therapy has thousands of different providers and low stress schedulings, and most people are seen within 2 days. There's free cancellations up to 24 hours in advance, as well as medication management if that is something that you need. If you want to learn more about Grow Therapy, head to the link in the description, or you can scan the QR code on screen. Again, huge thank you to Grow Therapy for sponsoring this part of the video. Let's get back into it. This article from People does a good job of kind of explaining everything. So let's go ahead and read this. So it says, Serena Williams is opening up about the key to her success in her weight loss journey. The tennis champion 43 revealed exclusively to People that she has been using a GLP-1 medication to help with her weight loss and has lost over 31 pounds. I feel great, she tells People. I feel really good and healthy. I feel light physically and light mentally. Williams says her struggle with weight began after she gave birth to her first daughter, Alexis Olympia, that's a cool name, in 2017, and her body started to change postpartum. I mean, very common thing that happens, right? I was never able to get to the weight I needed to be no matter what I did, no matter how much I trained, she explains. It was crazy because I'd never been in a place like that in my life where I worked so hard, ate so healthy, and I can never get down to where I needed to be at. Which, I mean, to an extent, I can understand that frustration. I can't obviously put myself in that position because I'm a guy and I'm never going to have a child myself that comes out of me. And so I can understand the frustration, but obviously I will never understand Serena Williams being one of the most prolific athletes of all time, you know, especially in tennis, that frustration that she would feel, you know, feeling like you can't get back to where you were before, right? And so, you know, I can understand being frustrated, right? I had never taken shortcuts in my career and always worked really hard. I know what it takes to be the best. The 23-time, it's crazy, Grand Slam champion says it was very frustrating to do all the same things and never be able to change that number on the scale or the way my body looked. Williams dealt with similar struggles after her second daughter, Adria River, was born in August 2023. She was able to lose a lot of weight in 2 weeks, but then remained stagnant afterwards. I never lost another pound, she quips. I just thought, gosh, I don't know if I would ever be able to get back to where I needed to go, the tennis star recalls. Knowing that she was great at maintaining a healthy lifestyle as a former professional athlete, Williams decided that it was time to try something different, so she decided to turn to row. this is where things get interesting and where we will be getting into it, right? A direct-to-patient healthcare company, so kind of similar to like the Hims and Hers, the telehealth kind of stuff, right? In addition, for additional support with the GLP-1 treatment. GLP-1 is short for glucagon-like peptide-1 receptor agonists, which work in the brain to impact satiety. Popular brands include Ozempic and Mounjaro. Williams recognized that there's a lot of controversy surrounding the use of GLP-1 medications and admitted that she was very nervous about deciding to use one for herself. I did a lot of research on it. I was like, is this a shortcut? What are the benefits? What are not the benefits? I really wanted to dive into it before I just did it, she says. After deciding it was the right choice for her, she consulted with a doctor through Roe and was able to start weekly injections about 6 months after Adria was born, when she stopped breastfeeding in early 2024. They were super supportive, and it was easy to get the medication. Well, I mean, yeah, you are a millionaire. I mean, you wouldn't even need to go to Roe. Whatever. Who is a celebrity patient ambassador for Roe? Again, interesting, right? I lost over 31 pounds using my GLP-1. I was really excited about the weight loss. The Olympic gold medalist says that since her weight loss, she feels better than ever. I can just do more. I'm more active. My joints don't hurt as much. I just feel like something as simple as getting down is a lot easier for me, and I do it a lot faster, she explains. I feel like I have a lot of energy, and it's great. I just feel pretty good about it. As someone who's been transparent throughout her entire athletic career, Williams tells people that it was important for her to share her journey publicly, constantly posting her workout videos on social media and knowing how to stay in shape. She says it's okay to recognize that you still need help and it's not a shortcut. GLP-1 helped me enhance everything that I was already doing, eating healthy and working out, whether it was a professional athlete at the top level of tennis or just going to the gym every day, she stresses. So I think that it's important for everyone to hear my story, and I feel like there's a lot of people that can relate. Now, I think that as far as her sharing the fact that she is obviously still working out, she's still putting in the effort, I think that is important. And that's one thing that I feel like gets missed a lot of times when we're talking about these GLP-1 medications, is that they are certainly the closest thing we've ever had to a miracle pill, drug, injectable, whatever, right? Where they really do, for a lot of people, they will inject themselves and then they, the food noise kind of goes away and they just don't feel like they need to eat anymore. They're not hungry. They just don't have the desire to eat. That's common. Not for everyone. There's a lot of people that take GLP-1s and they feel like it really doesn't do much for them. Obviously, everyone's different, but there are plenty of people in my life that I know personally that are taking these GLP-1s that are not changing anything else about their lifestyle. And that's one of the Achilles heel of these GLP-1 medications, especially when people are getting them without proper, having help, right? Having a team with them, a doctor, other people helping them throughout this journey, because losing weight, yes, while it is important, I think especially for maintaining weight loss, but not just maintaining weight loss, but maintaining overall wellness and health, these things all work together. And just taking one thing, right, with GLP-1s, a lot of times it really helps people stay in a deficit. But a lot of times those people will be in a deficit in a way that isn't the healthiest. They're just severely under eating, in my opinion. And that is the thing that is getting them to lose weight. And they lose the weight, but then again, as we have seen time and time again, the vast majority of people that are on a GLP-1, to keep that weight off, they have to kind of stay on that GLP-1, right? And so now they are consistently under eating, not getting enough nutrients, and they're not working out, they're not lifting, they're not putting on any muscle mass. And all of those things, I believe, work together to improve your overall health and wellness. And when those things are not added, I don't think that you're getting a full, you're not getting all of the things necessary to live a healthy and well life long term. I don't know if that really makes sense, but I really do believe that stuff is important. So I'm glad that she is talking about working out. I mean, it makes sense, right? She's a professional athlete. So if I would assume that she's still working out and doing what she can, right? And so that is something that I'm glad to hear, right? Despite her recent weight loss, Williams boasts that one thing that's remained the same is her confidence and self-love. Weight loss should never really change your self-image, she says. women often experience judgment about their bodies at any size. That's very true. And I'm no stranger to that. I can't even imagine. So I feel like you should love yourself at any size and any look. I've never felt that pressure to maintain a certain appearance, she admits. I always felt comfortable at any size, whether I was a lot heavier or not. I do feel like my body didn't like me at that weight. I had pain in my joints, pain in different areas just because of the extra weight that I'm not used to carrying since I had children. But the size I was before, there was nothing wrong with it. It's just not what I wanted to have, she continues. I just knew that I wanted to be where I personally felt comfortable. That's why Williams has made it a point to have conversations about body image and body positivity with her young daughters who she shares with her husband, Alexis. With me going through what I've went through growing up in public and just having millions of people commenting on my body, it's really important to teach them to be confident in any size, just like I try to be. She tells people, I was looking back at pictures, whether I was smaller or thicker, and at that moment, I felt so confident and I looked great too. So I just think it's so important to love who you are. You'll never get that moment back. You don't want to judge yourself when you're just always showing up as your best. Now, with the success of her GLP-1 medication, Williams says she'll keep taking the weekly injections as she needs it. She's also training for a half marathon and vowing to continue posting selfies in the gym, which she calls her favorite place to be. So let's get into the other things that aren't being mentioned as much with this. So when it comes to my thoughts on Serena Williams using a GLP-1, I like that in and of itself, just her using one, I don't really care that much. It's not that big of a deal to me. You know, everyone uses them for different reasons. Again, I think that there's a larger conversation that should be had that I feel like isn't being had about the implications of, people that are not that overweight using these GLP-1s and promoting them. But the reason that I feel this conversation is more important is because, Serena is becoming basically like a spokesperson for Roe, right? So if you go to their website, they have it plastered all over the website. So if you go and click through these things, right, say I'm going to lose over 51 pounds. I don't want to check my insurance coverage. And then it just has all of this information for you, again, with Serena Williams kind of being the background. It says up here, Serena Williams chose Roe for real weight loss results. And then it goes on to say, which this is really interesting. So there's this thing called the Roe Body Membership. So you have to pay for this to use Roe. And this has nothing to do with the medications that you're getting. So this is money that you are paying that is not going towards your medication at all, right? It's just going to Roe. So the Roe Body Membership costs $45 for your first month, then $145 thereafter. Please note that the cost of GLP-1 medication is not included in the membership cost. Medication cost will depend on your treatment and personal insurance coverage, right? And so you are paying a premium on top of paying for these medications. And again, with Serena Williams being the spokesperson basically of this medication. And on top of all of that, Serena Williams' husband is a member on the board of Roe, right? So it really makes you wonder if this was all kind of planned out, right? And so this article from Reuters, is that how you say it? I don't know, goes into it, right? So August 21st, telehealth company Roe has tapped tennis star Serena Williams as a celebrity patient ambassador for its weight loss treatments, the company said Thursday. The 23-time Grand Slam champion, who retired from professional tennis in 2022, will headline a multi-year national marketing campaign for GLP-1 drugs, a company spokesperson said. I don't take shortcuts, Williams said in an NBC interview, adding that her efforts to lose weight before turning to GLP-1 treatments included professional tennis training. I was doing everything right, but my body wasn't responding the way it used to, she said. Williams said in an advertisement that after struggling to lose post-baby weight, the treatments helped her lose 31 pounds. And then Serena knows people may be surprised to learn that she would use a GLP-1, and that's exactly why we think she's the perfect person to share her story, said a Roe spokesperson. Roe said Williams' husband, Alexis Ohanian, the co-founder of social media site Reddit, which I did not know, which is very interesting to me. I do be using Reddit, is an investor in the company and serves on its board. Okay, so I think that's important, right? GLP-1s promote weight loss, reducing appetite. We've all read this stuff. So Ro, which sells both drugs through its weight loss program, said Williams was on a branded GLP-1, but declined to say which one, which I think is interesting. Paul Serro, a former Ro strategy analyst and founder of Cedar Grove Capital Management, said the deal will boost Ro's visibility and credibility in a crowded weight loss market as companies push deeper into women's health. Well-known people are willing to put their name with a company that they believe is doing the right thing in the right way. I mean, yes, but also probably they're getting paid to do that as well. Ro offers cash pay access to Zepbound and Wegovy through Novo and Lilly's direct pharmacies. Although eligible patients can use insurance, it sells compounded Wegovy in varying doses for patients whose clinicians deem it medically necessary, right? And so that is the story of Serena Williams using this GLP-1. One person who actually came out and was pretty, at least vocal about how she felt about Serena Williams, taking these medications was Jamila Jamil, who is actually someone that's pretty popular in like the health at every size space. She definitely talks about that a lot. And so there are things that we agree on. There are things that we disagree on. I think with this, we're definitely kind of feel similarly, but she went on to say Serena Williams is selling GLP-1s. The thing I feel most uncomfortable about here is that celebrities have access to doctors most others don't have access to, right? So first off, I think it's interesting that it starts with Serena Williams is selling GLP-1s, right? Because there's a big difference between selling a GLP-1 and taking a GLP-1. We've talked about the weird stuff that is happening on TikTok where people are just sitting on TikTok live, basically selling GLP-1s, trying to get people to use their code to sell GLP-1s to people. I always say that's a little weird. If this person is, using a GLP-1, more power to them. I'm happy for them. But once you turn it into, now I'm going to start selling it to other people, that's a little weird, right? But I think it's interesting that she started that with that, right? But she goes on to say these miracle weight loss drugs come at a price literally because they're expensive, right? The side effects can include paralysis of the gastric system, pancreatitis, cancer, hair loss, osteoporosis, severe malnutrition, muscle mass loss, depression. There have been reports of ending one's life on earth, thyroid issues, blindness, and they can really wreak havoc on your metabolism. If for some reason you have to suddenly come off, many people gain the weight back and then some fast, right? So with all of that stuff, I assume is relatively true. I think that especially the more severe side effects are probably going to be a lot less, common. And that's why I always say with these medications, I think that someone should really consider if it's something that they really need to do. And this is why I really don't have a problem, because at the same time, staying in a body that is severely overweight, obese, severely obese, whatever, morbidly obese, you're going to have a lot of health issues that come along with that as well. And so it's about what is better for me, right? Is it better for me to be 200 pounds overweight and struggle losing weight and I can't lose it and I, struggle? Or is it better for me to take this medication that, maybe it really does help you and you lose a significant amount of weight and then therefore, you're able to live a better life, live a healthier life and stuff like that. And maybe you end up dealing with some of these side effects, but the side effects maybe are less of an obstruction of your life than being 200 pounds overweight, right? That's why I think that these medications, I think people are either like black and white. They're either good or bad. It's either everyone should be taking them and they're for everybody, or no one should be taking them, the devil, and everyone should avoid them. I think that there is a very, very large gray area here. But I think when we're talking about, Serena Williams, who is using it to lose 30 pounds, with all of the side effects that could happen, I don't know if that's the best message to be sending to so many people, right? But she goes on to say, if for some reason you have to suddenly come off of them, many people gain the weight right back, which is common, but a lot of people gain the weight back even, quote unquote, naturally when they've lost weight, right? I think that's more of a conversation about how the person is losing the weight. And that's why I mentioned that stuff earlier where, just taking a GLP-1, I don't think is quote unquote enough. There's a lot of other things that you should be doing in your life to make sure that that GLP-1 is being surrounded with other healthy habits that you are learning, right? And it's much harder to then lose. Nobody tells you about these things in the adverts and media. You need blood tests, DEXA scans, nutritionists, a dedicated weights regimen to maintain muscle mass and bone density. You need medical support if things go wrong. You don't have $1 billion to fix it. That's why I don't like celebrities pushing drugs with such drastic documented side effects. So again, I am sure there's more nuance that she would probably want to share if she was, having a conversation with someone about that. But I think that that's an interesting, side of how someone feels. And I personally kind of feel similarly. Like, I think Serena Williams herself taking a GLP-1, whatever. Like, I don't, celebrities have been doing stuff like that for as long as celebrities have existed, right? That's a pretty normal thing. But it's when we are now promoting it and becoming the face of a company to promote it to so many people. I don't know. It just feels a little weird to me. But again, that's just how I feel. I would love to know what y'all think down in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.